What's up, everyone? I'm Nathan Graham Davis, and I'm going to re-break in as a Hollywood screenwriter. Hey, so it is week 20 weeks in a row of just getting after it with my writing and interviewing amazing writers along the way, learning a shit ton, cutting it all together, and turning it into this. It has been an amazing experience and opportunity. I'm so grateful for it and for the time of all of these incredible writers, for the engagement from everybody who's been watching it, your emails and comments. It's been super cool. I'm so glad that it's become what it has, and I'm excited for it to keep going. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. There's a lot more coming up. However, I am going to take a break for just a couple weeks. Like I mentioned in the last episode, I am a little behind pace now, and the most important thing, the reason that I'm doing this whole project, is the writing. So I want to get caught back up on the second draft of Ether. So just going to be gone for a couple weeks. Like I said last week, the main reasons that I'm behind pace right now, one is just the mental fuckery that came along with everything that's been going wrong in our country. It's been absolutely insane. Thankfully, it kind of seems like it's turned a tide with the inauguration, so I'm really grateful for that. Two, on Inauguration Day, we released Cactus Jack, which is the first movie on which I'm a producer. It's the first feature that I've been involved with in any way that's been released. And so super exciting. It's been a really wild ride since that came out. The movie is polarizing, just like we knew it would be. As soon as it came out, it wound up on like all these torrent sites, and white supremacists, found out about it, and the comment sections in those places are just absolutely insane right now. And they all went over to IMDb, wrote a bunch of reviews there, a bunch of one-star reviews, and it's just been kind of absolutely crazy. On the other hand, we've been getting all of these amazing reviews from people who, although they found the movie really horrific and disturbing, as they should have, they also really appreciated it for what it is, felt like something like this needed to be made at this time, and really were into it. So it's been really cool to see that. Anyway, it'll just be interesting to see how all this shakes out over time. I think this is a movie that's just going to pick up steam as it goes, as people keep talking about it, and so we'll see what happens. However, I have not had anything produced as a screenwriter. I have been writing screenplays for a very long time. I've had some pretty close calls, but I've never gotten a movie made. And so I'm really excited for this conversation with Adam Barker, because his movie, Wash Me in the River, is being filmed right now. So super cool to connect with him at this point in his journey. He's been writing for about as long as I have. Like me, he even took a little bit of a break in the middle. So it's really, really cool that he is at this point now, and to just kind of catch him during this time. So check it out. Hey, what's up, Adam?
Hey, let me, it doesn't start with video ever for some reason. There we go.
No, it's all good. But you had a nice picture in its place, so that works too.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I don't know how I even signed up. So Google, I guess.
The hair grew, though, from the picture quite a bit, huh?
I can't get a haircut right now. So
totally.
Yeah, it's been like 4 years, though. So that's on me for waiting so long.
Man, I've gotten 2 haircuts since COVID started. I found a place that like they only let one person in at a time, and they do a temperature check before you come in, and all that. So I felt pretty good with their procedures. Okay. But I've missed 2 haircut appointments that I've booked because I've been quarantined myself, because at one point, like, my son had a fever. Thankfully it wasn't COVID, but you can't take risks, that type of thing.
Yeah, you can't sleep at night, if you do it. Yeah,
for sure. But so on that note, how's your 2021 going?
It's going okay. I mean, having the movie in production is cool, for sure.
Yeah,
so that's definitely good. It's a good way to start. Yeah.
When did they start filming?
1 day late, so the 12th. It's been this is the 5th day, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Dude, that's super exciting though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm trying to stay positive, about it. there's some negative stuff that I could glom onto, but all in all, it's a good thing.
I'd be interested to hear both, genuinely, both the positive and the negative for sure.
Yeah. I came into this definitely prepared, I think, for the negative, but at the same time,
right.
haven't gotten the check yet either. So I guess I'm gonna play softball with that. But
Yeah, that's important. I'm assuming your contract spells out that first day of principal photography, you're supposed to be paid. So
yeah. So I'm definitely learning more and more about how this stuff works and the new ways in which they can screw you over. But it'll come at some point.
Can you just say real quick what the movie is for anybody watching this?
Yeah. It's called Wash Me in the River. It's about I'm not a logline guy, so
yeah, I hear that.
it's about a former addict, it was supposed to be like a pill popper, guys doing opiates, but they changed it to heroin. So a former heroin addict who, like, his fiance dies of an overdose, and he just goes on a rage to make everyone pay who has anything to do with the creation and supply and distribution of the drug that killed her. Yeah.
And you've got a legit team on this movie. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say team, but legit.
So but like De Niro's in it, which is crazy. So
yeah, De Niro and Malkovich is
man. I mean, like unbelievable actors.
And the lead, I mean, the protagonist, played by Jack Huston, I think is how you pronounce it, who was in Boardwalk Empire, the guy with the fake half of the face. He's a good actor.
It's awesome, dude. So despite some negatives, I mean, that is pretty amazing. I mean, those are the type of things that you're targeting when you get into this,
I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised, as surprised as anyone. This is the funny thing, is this is the one script I didn't think would be made or had any chance at being made. It was
really
just a cathartic experience to write it, really, which may be why it got any attention at all, I guess. I don't know.
Just because like the passion and the personal
element, I mean, it came from my uncle, who struggled with addiction like his whole life. And the very year that my wife and I, decided to move to California was the year that he ended up dying of like complications of like liver failure and all of that. So, and I couldn't be there, I couldn't go there. So yeah, it was really, really tough. Someone that I, grew up with, and his son is around my age, my cousin, who's like a brother to me. I couldn't be there for him. So for me, it was like a lot of anger that came from that. In some ways, and just not understanding, and like my whole family on both sides having some issues with addiction as well, right? Like coming from Kentucky and coming from like, so, there's some Irish roots there, I think. Anyway, just, thinking about the nature of addiction, I think trying to work through that a little bit, and creating, a character I thought that was very like in line with what I remembered him as being, like the type of person to do what is done in the story in a way. Like I remember, not to go too far down on that tangent, but I remember like growing up, he was the one that taught, like I was being bullied a little bit in school, and he was living at my house with my parents, like in our basement. And he told me, he was like, next time somebody fucks with you, can we cuss on this? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Right. And he was
I
like,
just had the Thornton brothers on last week, dude. That was
okay. All right. Yeah. Then, he was like, man, the next time somebody fucks with you, find the nearest chair, and wherever it is, go get it, pick it up, smash it, pick up the biggest piece. Right. And just hold it up. Right. Just be like, who wants a fucking piece. Right. And he's like, the next day, everyone will call you crazy. Right. But no one will fuck with you. That's, no one's going to fuck with you after that. And he was like, if you have to, smash the chair over the person. And, he was that type of guy.
Dude, so can you talk to me a little bit about like, what led you, the 3 to 5 minute version of what got you here, where now you've got, your first produced movie, filming right now.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, that's
it's
the
like
story you tell like in any general meeting is like, how, why are you sitting in front of me? Right.
yeah,
So
just like where'd the writing start? You know,
yeah,
what's like the first time you
I don't
remember
really
sitting down to
know.
write something?
The first time I remember, I think it was like a junior in high school, but like I definitely came from like I always liked books growing up.
Okay.
Um, I liked reading. Like that's what my parents said was like I just liked it. My daughter's like that too. Like just sit down with a book. Like what is she didn't even see us read really, so I don't. She just likes books. I was always good with words. Like I was always good in spelling bees. In school. Um, and then yeah, I got to high school. I think there was like a competition or something. It was like, if you want to write a short story, you can do that for some credit or something. And yeah, I think I wrote a couple that year that ended up being pretty good. And like my friends read them. I'm like, this is really good. And then got to college and had to figure out what I wanted to do. And I knew I was pretty good at writing. I liked reading, so I just was like, okay, I'll do English lit. Took some creative writing courses, which was I really really loved that like process. It felt like that was like the first experience of I think collaboration was like you're sitting like in this like semicircle with other students, you're reading their stuff and they're reading yours and you're giving your
That's
thoughts.
cool.
Yeah, you just feel the synapses firing, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just keep growing and then I tried to I don't know, I was like I don't think I'm gonna like be a writer though, so what I want to do. And I remembered like growing up, my grandmother on my mother's side, she was in community theater for like 50 years. And so I did a couple plays with her when I was little. And like I liked it, but I didn't like want to like it because like your family like pushing you to do something. So you naturally like go away from that. In college though, I was like, I always liked that. So I think I want to try acting. Right. So
Okay.
I went out and auditioned for some community theater plays. I think the first one was like To Kill a Mockingbird. I played Boo Radley.
Nice.
And I've always had these like sleep circles under my eyes, so it was like perfect. Then I did Witness for the Prosecution. I can't remember the lead's name. That's a Agatha Christie novel play. That was amazing. And so I knew like this is what I want to do. I love it, and got a lot of attention like in the community theater area. So I thought, well, I can write, so I'll write something to act in, right, and I'll direct it or whatever. So I took 2 screenwriting courses at the University of Kentucky, and I don't know why they offered them. I mean, I like hardly anybody has taken them.
I took one at my community college in Massachusetts, dude. It's funny. They
Yeah.
exist,
I mean, I'm thankful for it for sure. I'm glad they had it. But I took it. It was the same professor, this documentarian. He had done a documentary on Nick Nolte, I think, which I thought was like so cool. I liked him. And yeah, I took both classes. And at the end of that, he was like, you're the best one who's come through here for sure. So like, I can't help you. I don't know how to do it. So just keep doing it. And
so that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that? So I'm assuming you wrote a script for that. What did you write? Like a short, a feature, a pilot?
Yeah, no, we started out writing a feature. I remember that was the first time like I had a screenwriting book. It was the Screenwriter's Bible by whoever. Yep. And I remember like reading that. It was the first chapter, I think, was focused on like formatting because I had no idea like how do you format a script or anything. And after I read that chapter, I was just like I put the book down and started writing. I wrote like I think may have been a bank heist story or something like that. It was somebody who owed like $50,000 to some drug dealer or something like that and had to get it back. It was like, okay, but it at least like resembled a movie. And then I took the next course the next semester, and that one ended up being pretty good. That was the one that got like the attention on Dundle Pro and got Craig Mazin and all that.
So that was your next script?
Yeah, that was the second script I ever wrote.
Damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is when I think about it now. But yeah,
what do you think of that? What do you think of that first one now? I mean, is that something that you ever
did anything with? No. I mean, I don't know why there was such a leap from the first one to the second one. The first one, I think it was me working out some issues I had with like a friend of mine. In a way, it was kind of like a dual protagonist thing. And one's good, one's bad, and the other one gets the other one into a lot of shit that they have to help the other one get out of. And I was just working through some stuff,
Dude, that's funny.
Yeah.
My first script that I wrote for that screenwriting course, the professor was like super impressed by it. Took like he asked if he could use it to teach for future
Mhm.
courses, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I must be pretty good at this, and I think that's part of what encouraged me to keep going. But that script is awful. Like I would never, ever, ever show it to anybody in a million years, and I have no interest in rewriting it. And it's just kind of funny how, like, I don't know, it seemed elevated in this little pocket where
Yeah,
there
it showed you
isn't
like
a big
how bad the other stuff is. Like not necessarily,
right.
but it's just like it's a bunch of kids trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
do this thing they don't know how to do. Yeah.
All right, so dude, your second script, like that was the one that got you some attention initially. Can you talk about how that worked? And also,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane because I
So
tell everybody it's going to take you, several scripts to get a feel for this game, but
yeah,
you're
I
really
mean,
the exception.
that one that no one likes that in the industry or anything like that one. It's just a drama, right? So that one I was also working out some stuff, I mean, as well. But I at least understood, I think, some more concepts, I think, about, how do you make your own writing resemble the movies that you like, you know. Anyway, like, yeah, so I wrote that script in the second screenwriting course. At the end of that, my professor was like, get this out there somehow, right? Like I don't know anybody. I make documentaries, so figure it out, but you got to keep doing it, right? So like I literally went home and Googled screenwriting. I don't know why I didn't do that before. This was before
So
like
you'd never kind of
I
you'd never taken that dive into the black hole of
no, I mean,
internet
I don't know what
screenwriting.
year this was. This was 2006, maybe something like
Okay.
that. So I wasn't like on Facebook and there was no Twitter. There was, so I had a book about screenwriting and I didn't need the internet to teach me. So, and it was the first time, I just Googled it and it led me to Dundell Pro, to a screenwriting forum. So I went in there and I think it was the day that I signed up. I may be misremembering, but like, I think I found that thread that Craig Mazin had started, right? And it was like, if you want to post 3 pages of your work, you can, if you want, right? But we'll give you brutal feedback. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
like
remember that.
they were telling people like, you shouldn't even do this. Like it's that bad. Sometimes it was okay. And I had nothing to lose, I mean, so I posted the first 3 pages. I even like reformatted those first 3 pages to fit like a half a page onto there so I could post the 3 pages. And Craig Mazin read those and responded. I still remember like verbatim. It was like, I'm impressed. I would read this whole script. That was it. And I
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck? And so then I look up Craig Mazin. I don't know who he is at the time. And he had written the Scary Movie
Scary movies,
sequels.
I think, back
And I
then.
think at that time, Hangover 2, I think at that time. So I was like, he's a working writer, so I'll send him the pages. And yeah, and he read it. I think in like 2 weeks, he read it. I think he was on vacation somewhere, and he called me and he gave me his notes. He said, "You can do them or don't do them. I'll send this around and get you repped." And I wish I could say like that's what I did, but I did the notes, but I didn't wait for him to get me repped. I got a message on Dundell Pro from a manager who was on Dundell Pro, who I guess saw that and said, "Hey, I want to read it too." So I sent it to him and he said, "This is really good. I'll rep you."
There's only one manager I can think of that was on there at that time. Is that one like who
Yeah.
had a pretty big presence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to, like, I don't want to, I don't
I'm
want to
not
name
saying
drop,
it
I
on
guess.
purpose.
Yeah. Cause
I'm not saying it on
I'm
purpose,
not
just
with
in
him
case you didn't want
anymore.
to.
Yeah.
So.
I will say it was a big, management company at the time. And again, I know nothing about anything in the industry at that time. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna definitely sign with a manager. I have a manager. This is awesome,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And he got me an agent. I mean, to his credit, he took the script it wasn't that script. I had already written another. I knew I didn't want to be like the drama writer.
Yep.
Nobody makes money as a drama writer, so I'm going to write something, a better sample. So I wrote like an action thriller set in the wilderness, and that's the one that he signed me off of.
Which one was that?
That's the one that ended up on the blacklist.
Yeah,
Dig.
what was it called again? Dig?
Yeah, Dig. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of how it happened. I mean, Craig Mazin read the script, gave me good notes. Another manager reached out, offered to rep me, got me an agent at one of the big three or big four maybe, I don't know, but and then they sent it that script really wide, like 50 or so companies. I flew out for like 2 weeks of meetings, just straight like jam-packed meeting, the water bottle tour, which, yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And then I just, nothing happened from that. Like I pitched on some stuff. I probably naively felt, I definitely naively felt like I'm not doing free work. That's just not happening. I know now that you
I don't know,
probably
man.
almost
Like I
have
did the
to,
reverse.
you
Like
know?
I did the water bottle tour and I
Yeah.
decided to do free work, and I feel like it was such a waste of
Mm.
time. I didn't write any
Yeah.
specs during that time. It's like
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you're going to do it, I would still be working on my own stuff, I think,
yeah.
but
So
yeah, I turned down free work. No one wanted to give me paid work. So and that was, I think, what I knew that people had fallen into that pitfall. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to write my own stuff, which I did, but it wasn't the stuff that my reps wanted me to write. Right. So it was like, that was the time period where we got into like, send me 10 ideas a day or a week or whatever it was. Right. And we'll find them. And I just felt like I was living in,
dude, that shit is grueling, right? Like
yeah, just lunatic world or something
yeah,
like
I
that. Yeah.
same thing. And it was like months of this, right? And it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and I'd send them, I'd work really hard to send them, and then it'd be a few days to a week or whatever before I even heard back on those. So it's just this like
Yeah.
waiting period of like,
And by the time they get to where they're like, okay, I kind of like this one, you're like, well, I don't fucking like that one, to be honest.
right.
Right. I mean, you're literally throwing shit at a wall to see if it sticks, but it's still shit, you know? I
Yep.
mean, I mean, you have to have passion. And I don't, I mean, still to this day, I don't think I could do that. Throw a bunch of ideas into an email and then someone else picks and decides what you should write. That's crazy
Yeah.
to me. But
I don't
apparently it
know.
works
It's
for some people, I
I
guess.
mean,
I mean,
I
but
guess. But it's definitely like that all these things that you're talking about sound so familiar in a lot of
yeah.
ways, and they were a big part of what just discouraged me and made me give up on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got lucky to, I mean, I knew at the time, that perseverance is
Mhm.
such a huge key. I mean, unless you get lucky, and maybe also with lucky. I mean, I definitely think of like success is opportunity meeting preparation, right? Or no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
luck.
I
Luck
totally
is
agree with that.
opportunity meeting preparation. That's what
Mhm.
I always tried to think about. So just continue to prepare and continue to persevere through all that bullshit, because unfortunately, I think every writer is expected to do that for some crazy reason. I mean, every rep is going from the same playbook. I
Mhm.
mean, is what it seems like. Almost all reps. So, um, anyway, so I did that. I did the water bottle tour. I wrote some more specs. I tried to write like what they wanted me to write, which was whatever the hot movie is. Like today for the last however many years it's been John Wick, right? And at one
Yep.
time it was not training day. At one time it was what am I thinking of? The Denzel Washington Safe House. It was
Oh
Safe House
yeah.
for a long time, and a bunch of other movies. But like, it's trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. For some writers, I mean, it didn't work for me. I wrote my own stuff that they didn't particularly like, which I thought was crazy. I was like, but you liked the script that got in the blacklist, right? And they were like, yeah, but you can't just write that kind of script forever, right? You've got to keep climbing up. We can't send out another dig. Like we can't send that same script to those companies again. It's got to be something that they could actually buy, which I still don't understand that, but so yeah, I mean, I got to a point where it's like, this is not working. It's also not healthy. I'm like stressed and anxious all the time. I put a lot of work into these scripts that they don't want to do anything with. So,
Yeah.
you know, eventually, with some advice from other friends, I mean, I was like, okay, I have to break it off, and I can't do this. So I had to have that tough conversation and just move on. And then my my fiance and I got married. We moved back to Kentucky, where I'm from, the state right there. And yeah, we bought a house, started a family, lived there for I think almost 5 years, and then I just came back to the computer and started writing again at some point in there.
So were you working a day job in the interim there, or were you?
I think I was a substitute teacher.
Okay.
I think at that time, and yeah, we moved out here. I was an Uber driver until
Gotcha.
until the pandemic. But
it's funny. Jay was just talking about how many WGA writers are Uber drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's just like it's just this feast or famine business.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wish I was WGA, but
this,
yeah, I mean,
so this movie didn't
writers,
get you into the WGA?
No, it's a non-WGA signatory. I think they have a signatory arm, right? But they can choose.
There's
whether
so many of those, dude. That was the same
Yeah.
thing for me with mine.
Yeah.
You know, it was like we all thought it was going to wind up being a WGA deal, and then it went through this channel that whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have to, then they're. I mean, I understand it from their perspective, and I probably would do the same thing. Like, why do it? You have to jump through so many other hoops, right, with the WGA. So if it's not a WGA writer and there's no other reason to do it, then you're just not going to do it.
Right.
So I understand, you know, but yeah. So
all right. So anyway, I keep cutting you off. So you were in Kentucky. You were writing.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a few scripts. I mean, I actually remember, like, we bought our first house. I kind of did what you did, right, up here in the attic. Like I top floor. It was kind of like used to be an attic, and I like built my own like long desk, right? It was like a double desk.
Yeah, I built my desk too. It was kind of fun to
it helped a lot. I mean, I don't know why, but got the creative juices flowing, and I sat down. I had a few ideas, wrote the first one. That got me a new agent at a place nobody even knows, ESA, who's now a management company. But
I don't know ESA.
Yeah, equitable stewardship for artists, I think is what it's called. But I mean, I was a agent I really liked, and got my scripts out there. It felt like I was like on the precipice of something. I don't know, you know, like what I wanted back in 2013 when I was on the blacklist it felt like that was happening in 2017, 2018. I felt like I could do it. And I didn't really feel like I could do it before. I felt like it was too early, or I didn't understand it. So I wrote about 3 scripts, I think, there in Kentucky. And then I wrote Wash Me in the River. Like, I started it and then we moved. And then I wrote most of it in California. And that's what ended up getting made, you know, where we are today.
So the ESA agent, was that a referral? Was that a query?
Yeah,
like, how did you make that happen?
That was a referral. That was Alex Felix, who wrote.
Oh,
who was on the blacklist same year as me. Wrote Where Angels Die, produced, writer, and everything. Yeah, he was like, "I'll send your stuff to my agent," and it went. Awesome. I've never queried or anything. I would, but I just haven't had to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody's got a different path in. I mean, yours was not standard at all, but you still kind of put yourself out there, just posting 3 pages on Done Deal Pro, you know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely luck involved in that. I mean, I mean, for sure. Like, at that time, I was like, this is gonna be easy. I mean, I can't believe it's this easy, but it's not that easy.
That's preparation and opportunity, right? Like, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that gets us to where I was at ESA, sent a few scripts out. I didn't feel, I don't know. I guess I felt like it just wasn't working, you know, like I really I liked the agent I was with, but I didn't think my scripts were going to enough places, right? Or individually targeted in the way that they should be. Like, so I left. And another referral from Alex, actually, a friend of his who was he's my manager now, Jason Lubin. He was at Lionsgate, I think, for 10 years. So he's a former executive. Okay. And I met with him. He liked my writing, and he's been, I mean, tremendous, really. So
you feel like you're on the same page as him as far as
yeah,
what
and
you're looking to do?
I'm doing what I always wanted to do, and which I was always going to do, which is going to be write the stuff I want to write, the movies I want to see written in the way that I want to read them, you know, just not necessarily. I don't want to say like not compromising. There's compromise there, you know, and everything, but in the end, it's I always say this, like, if I'm going to fail, I want to fail my way, you know.
I respect
I don't
that,
want to
dude.
fail.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which that can be dicey, right? I don't want to fail at all. So if I can get around that, that's. But like, it's going to happen. You're going to fail. That's how you have to learn. That's how you get to success. So if I'm going to do it, I want to do it my way and not feel like, well, you know, it's because of this person's notes or because this person's opinion or whatever. Like, for example, not so you read my last script, right? The like the zombie post-apocalyptic thing, which I never thought I would write one of those. But yeah, so you gave me notes. I got a few other notes. I didn't change anything, which the notes were good. Like they were.
So you didn't change anything at all. Did you do a rewrite or at all?
I didn't change anything before I sent it to my manager, and then based on his notes, I changed a few things. It's not that I don't want it to come across like I didn't even consider this, that. Some notes I'll try it out.
Totally fine.
And I'll look at it and be like, nah, it didn't work, you know, go back. I definitely try things. Even with my manager's notes, I mean, I think one of the notes was like, does this really have to be in first person? You know, like, which I guess I should say I wrote it in the first person, which is
I know I wrote something about it being in the first person in the notes, but I liked it. I think there was a concern that I had. I don't even remember what it was at this point, but
I think you may have been one of the people to say like there's a few scenes that are not from that character's perspective, like he's not there, so can it really be written in the first
I think
person?
that is what I wrote. And it just felt off because I was reading it in the first person, right? And then the POV changed. But whatever, dude. I mean, like, I was just talking about this script on the last episode with the Thorntons just briefly, but we were talking about like the way people write and stuff about purple prose, and I was saying how much I enjoyed reading your script. And I know, and you just said this, how like you want to write it in the way that you want to read it, right? And like your script, like it just was like poetic prose the whole way through, and it was so enjoyable to read just as a reading experience. And I thought that was super cool because, you know, so many people will tell you can't do that, like, you know, but it was awesome.
What I was going to say was I probably wouldn't have done that, right? Like even maybe 2 years ago or something like that. But I just feel more in control, I think, and more confident for sure. I mean, I wasn't a very confident writer, I think, when I started, even with reps and going on meetings and everything. It was all new. Now I feel like, you know, like the seasoned vet or something like that. I mean, I know how it works.
Jaded or
oh yeah, for sure. Like like too jaded probably even. Like I said, trying to focus on the positive, but there's negatives I can focus on.
I don't know. There's a lot a lot of things that are easy to get frustrated about, as I've already been through, but it's interesting to be coming back at it like with these kind of almost 6 years off basically from this world, and a completely different worldview and mindset than I had just because I'm older and have more life experience. And it'll be interesting to kind of go back into it that way.
I mean, that's why I wanted to do this, because I've kind of done that in a way. I mean, like not having reps and just starting out again and send your work to some friends and try to get referrals and all that. And
it's awesome, dude. And I'm so glad it's working out for you, man. You're how many years between landing on the blacklist, which also remarkable because that was your third script, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
So you landed on the blacklist with your third script. How many years between that and when Wash Me in the River got some traction and was optioned?
Yeah, well, it was 2013 was when it was on the blacklist. So Wash Me in the River, I wrote Wash Me in the River when we moved here. So I think 2018. So 5 years between writing them, and then I think about a year after I wrote Wash Me in the River, it was optioned. It was actually through the blacklist website. So I because I was on the blacklist, I can host my scripts for free on there.
That's cool.
Without getting a review or anything like that. So I just put my scripts on there. After we send them out, after we get some responses. But if it feels like it's not live right anymore, like no one's considering it anymore, I put it on there. And this little kind of, not little, but somewhat of a fringe company found it and reached out, Yeah.
That is one thing that has changed since I've been out. A lot of things are the same, but the blacklist is so interesting to me because I feel like any pay service that existed 6 years ago was absolutely not like ink tip and shit like that. Like you never saw real success stories coming out of that, but real things actually happen with the blacklist.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't think the blacklist really did much in that way for writers. So I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, even when I got the email, like they literally reached out. They said, "Is this script still available? We want to option it." Wasn't even like anything beyond. It was just like, "Give it to us."
Was this your first paid work after being like as a screenwriter?
No. I had optioned the script on the blacklist.
Okay.
Which that's actually another like kind of somewhat of a pitfall. Something I regret.
Really.
Yeah, not optioning it. I mean, optioned it to a company that made another blacklist script, Everly. I don't know if you'll remember that, but it starts,
I remember the name. I definitely never read Everly, but I do remember hearing about it.
Yeah, it starts Selma Hayek. It was in like this apartment building, and she had to defend herself against like waves of assassins sent by her.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Mafia husband or something like that. Anyway, they optioned it twice, and then I mean, it was a big ordeal. The executive over there, the CEO, decided he wanted to direct it, which kind of blew up the project. And he ended up getting a decent cast attached for him to direct, but he got up against the limit like the second time he optioned it. So it came back to me, and I said no. Which I mean, they were pretty ready to go. So I could have been where I am right now. I could have been there in like 2014.
What made you say no?
I just naively just felt it's better. It's better than this. I can get nothing against anyone involved. The cast was good. The CEO I'm still friends with today.
Really?
And we still send stuff back and forth and everything, and he's a good guy. I just felt like naively, like I can get a better package than this, And so I left that. I did get another director attached who had it for like 4 years for free, And I like that guy too. And I would like to work on with him on other things, but I took it from him too. And now I'm attached to direct it, actually with a actor from The Walking Dead.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think it'll happen, but I just felt like it's been however long, no one's really gotten it done. I don't think anybody's going to get it done, so I'll just try to do it.
Good for you.
So,
I mean, I obviously respect that. Like, I'm way into the idea of just trying to find ways to pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever.
Yeah,
figure it out. So you had that option. Were you able to turn that blacklist heat into any other gigs or anything like that as well? Or
I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I'll say about being on the blacklist is it got the script option. It wasn't an option before it was on the blacklist.
And I'm sure it got you tons of meetings and shit too, right? Like,
I don't, I think mostly being on the blacklist came from having tons of meetings in a way.
Well, I guess that
yeah. So I thought that a lot would happen from it, and not. I don't think a lot happened from that. I mean, and that was also because I didn't want to do free work, right? So I'm just like, no, I like, don't even bring it to me. And no, I think I mostly I got really fed up. I mean, I wanted to write the stuff that I wanted to write, and it just the whole paint by numbers, like one size fits all approach just didn't work for me. I was the square peg and I did not fit in the round hole, so I had to find my own way of doing it. And I think probably some of it was I couldn't recapture that level that I had on the blacklist script. I mean, I couldn't recapture that that connection between idea, execution, character, location, everything that worked, characters and everything.
Dude, that's such an
Until
honest thing to say
yeah,
and admit. And I think it's super cool because I think we all kind of experience periods like that, right? Like, and go through things like that. And,
mm,
but it's uncomfortable to talk about, especially since like this business, like it feels like you have to kind of brand yourself in a certain way and
yeah,
present yourself in a certain way, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, because when you start out, I mean, the first question that I think the manager at that time, when I had my first phone call with him, the first question was like, "Do you want to be a professional screenwriter?" Right? I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But I don't think I fully understood what entailed, and
Right.
that was like compromising, right? And not
Who
writing the
does
stuff
though?
you that you
Nobody
love, and
does.
right. I mean, I don't think I wanted to be an auteur, right? And like write stuff but the thing I didn't realize at the time, the movies I loved were made by the same person who the filmmaker, right? Like it was a writer director, most things that I loved. I mean, so I I realized, I think a few years later, that like I need to just write for me. Don't worry about someone who's reading it. Write it as if I'm gonna make it, you know. And like I literally the Watch Me in the River script I wrote with the intention to star and direct it.
Really? That's so
Yeah.
cool, man. You know,
I
I
mean,
didn't
like,
realize that acting was still a passion of yours in that way too. So that's really, really
yeah, I'm
cool.
actually, no, I wouldn't say it's a passion, but it is, filmmaking is a passion. And I think if you're going to do it that level, that low level, I don't know anybody who's, I don't want to say good enough actor. I just don't know anybody
Mhm.
that is a really good actor. So I was just like, I can do it. I'll do it. Like the first page of the script was literally like a guy riding a dirt bike with long hair, like flowing behind them. That was me. And and then I think at some point I was like, this is actually pretty good. So maybe I should first and foremost try to sell it, try to set it up, and then the secondary plan could be to make it. So I wrote like a big action scene at the end. I knew I could never film, but I would cut it right there and replace it with something smaller. And and then somebody bought it, and then they cut it there and replaced it with something smaller.
Dude,
You know?
that's cool though. All right, so
Yeah. Well,
so you said that you were open to talking about some of the ups and downs with Wash Me in the River. So
yeah.
yeah, let's.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can talk about, I think the disappointment, probably the learning curve of like it's going to happen sometimes, being rewritten by someone else, but I think not really understanding how painful that is, you know um at least for me, and like I explained, like it being a very personal script
Yeah.
that came from like a personal tragedy, kind of. And the just feeling somewhat taken advantage of in some ways, I think. But like I don't want to say anything bad about the company or anything like that, but like I think just speaking to that experience of being rewritten, and I don't even know if it's just being rewritten. I mean, it's sort of like the thing that you created and put so much passion into it, it being kind of chopped up and just thrown around like it doesn't mean a whole lot. But I did develop, again, like no names or anything, but like the script that I wrote in Kentucky, that was like the first one I sat down and wrote when I
Yeah.
got back into it. It was like this really cool border thriller that I mean, a lot of places have liked, but the lead is Mexican American, right? So it's kind of like a minority lead. And no matter how much they tell you, like they want to do that stuff, a lot of places don't, right? It's just not
Yeah.
financially viable for a lot of places. So that died pretty early, but we found a company that wanted to make it into a series, right? And so that was really cool. Like, can we take this feature length story and turn it into, like a 7 or 8 episode limited series, which I thought was like, I mean, it was a great opportunity. It was a really great company, and worked
Yeah.
on that for, yeah, a long time. And just and that kind of, you know, unless you sign something with the company, they always have the option to just say no, right? Like,
Right.
but that feeling of like, it's happened a few times, like feeling like you've done nothing wrong. You've done everything that you're supposed to do right. But there are things out of your control that you're not necessarily ever going to know about, right? Like the reasoning behind a no, you're not going to know about. They're not going to tell you. And it could be their fault and they're not going to tell you, right? But you can do a lot of work. You can put your heart and soul into something, and for someone to just give it a two letter answer is debilitating. That that can be.
Yeah, it's
But
crushing, man. Like
yeah,
I relate to those experiences.
yeah,
They're brutal. Like, there was one thing that I was working on, just literally treatments and outlines for 6 months on this thing that I was really excited about to begin with.
yeah,
And I was doing it on spec, and I had agreed to do that. And it's just the notes I started getting were so weird, and they contradicted each other every single
yeah,
time. And like
yeah,
finally, I had to say, I can't do this anymore. Like, I mean, we've been going back and forth for way too long on this,
yeah.
and we don't seem any closer to, and that was just one thing, but
Right. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. I don't think like what level you're at, unless probably if you get to WGA membership, in some way you're protected at least a little bit more, right? But especially, I mean, certainly on the movie that's being produced right now, had it been WGA, like what happened would not have happened, right? Essentially,
oh,
like,
really? Okay. So, I mean,
yeah.
I was going to ask you if, the expectation was that you were going to be rewritten from the beginning, or.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into play. I mean, certainly, I would say, yeah, certainly, I wish it was WGA because that protects you at least in terms of like you get the opportunity to rewrite yourself first, right? Like they have to say like we need it rewritten, like whatever the notes are, you get a shot, right? So it's almost like a shot at protecting your credit, right? Like, and then if it's not good enough or whatever, they go to someone else. But at least you've done enough work on that it's going to be hard for someone else to do enough work to change it,
Mhm.
unless it's like a major overhaul. Especially an original idea, you have to change like 50% or something like that of a script to get shared credit on something like that. But in this instance, it was like, uh, we don't have to do that. We can just take it to someone else, which I think if that's all it was, it would be okay. But it was more so like the feeling of like, well, we don't think you can do it. We don't think you can do these changes. But I had done like a 5-day polish, I think, on it. And like that, I just assumed that was not good. Whatever they just felt like that's not what we asked for. So we're going to someone else. But I got an opportunity to like take a look at the script before it went into production. And that was not the case. Like almost everything I did was in the script still. I was like,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, why would I not get a shot? And I think it just came down to like, we don't have to do it. We don't have to give that to you. We've worked with another writer before
Yeah.
and
Sometimes
they always
relationships.
do it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just a relationship.
Yeah.
It's actually like funny. I thought about like, it's the other side of the coin of networking, right? Like you got to network, you got to like get to know people to help yourself. And in sometimes that networking is going to come back and bite you in the ass because somebody else knows somebody, and you lose out on work or you
Yeah,
get
and it
rewritten for
sucks
that
for
reason.
writers to be in competition with each other in that way too,
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the writer
Yeah.
that was hired. Mostly, it's just some animosity, I think, in terms of like the way it was handled. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean that's
yeah,
frustrating. Did you
yeah.
connect with that other writer at all? Like while
No,
no,
no. That would be one thing. I think if it were me, I probably would have reached out or something like that. But at the
I'd like
same
to think
time,
that I would
like,
do the same thing too.
yeah,
Just kind of. Plus, I think you could probably learn something from that, right? Like understanding like some of the intent.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would love. Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, that would be cool. Yeah, if that writer were willing to, give me some inside information on what went down there. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but it's getting produced, man. And your name's
Yeah,
gonna be on a
yeah. I
movie.
mean, at the end of the day,
Credits.
have a produced credit, get the check that comes with that, and I mean, it's life changing in both ways.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Absolutely. Do you know when they're targeting a release date for it, or?
No, no, I have no idea. I'm certainly, I expect that the pandemic has something to do with that, like probably would like to release it in theaters if
Well,
they
that's what I was
can.
going to ask, right?
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I just have to assume like the dream is to see like a movie that you wrote in theaters,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Well, the dream, yeah, that, I mean, to go to the premiere or something like that. But
yeah,
if it's a virtual premiere, I'm
right.
not going to it.
Not
So
just
that
not
would
the
be
same thing,
cool.
right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, still super cool, absolutely like
Yeah.
amazing, and life changing, as you said. But something about the idea of just getting to go to like that premiere and like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and to like like to sit in a theater with your friends and family and like and see something that you wrote, like that type of thing just
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
I mean, yeah, just to have it. I mean, for there to be a DVD, or if it's on Netflix or whatever, to be able to point to it and
Yeah,
like, your family that's, told you over the years, like maybe you should think about maybe do something else,
yeah.
to show them, what you've done, what you have to show for it,
Dude, that was the reason why I made a graphic novel, was just so that like I could
Yeah.
have something to point at and be like, see, I'm a writer, like it exists.
Yeah. Right. Right.
um
I started actually working on a novel, after the disappointment, I think, of like being rewritten on this and it being like, such an ordeal for me. But like, you work, if you write a novel, it's yours. No one can take it. No one can put their
yeah.
name on it. It's yours forever. And it goes straight from your fingers to the consumer,
Plus, then you own the IP if somehow it's
Right.
able to be turned into a movie, right? Like, and that
Yeah. Yeah.
a huge amount of leverage that you never would have if
Yeah.
you wrote it as a spec script.
Right, right, and that was part of the novel. I started actually as I guess, an adaptation of the feature script, the border thriller with the Mexican American lead. That was at the company that had me write 15 pages of a series outline that went nowhere. Well, just taking that outline and using that as an outline for a novel. That way, you create IP, give it a better chance at like living a life as a film or a TV show, but also you own it. And
and it's
yeah.
tangible and like
Yeah.
and it's a finished work of art that people can actually enjoy.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of power. The power that you don't get as a screenwriter, you can find, as a novelist or short story author or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't written a novel. I started one, and actually, it's something that I plan to, I think, try and develop as a mini series. But I actually want to finish the novel first for exactly the reason that we're talking about. I mean, I love the idea so much. I want to own that IP,
Yeah,
more than anything
yeah,
else that I've written as far as spec scripts go. Like, I want to own this one.
yeah.
So regardless.
And I think it helps a lot mentally, just your own, maybe your own self-worth, like to know that like no matter what happens with this, it's yours
Yeah,
forever. No one will ever take that stage of its creation from you.
totally.
um, Rather than the aspect of not knowing what will happen with like a script or spec script or whatever. That, I mean, it can be rewritten to the point where you get story by credit, maybe like shared story by credit could be something that happens. That's almost terrifying, I think, to think of for me.
Yeah, but you still would own the original book,
Yeah,
right?
if you do that first, then
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's always yours. Yeah.
yep. Right. And like, hey, look, I mean, I'm getting back into this for a reason. Like movies are what I'm passionate about, right? Like I
Mhm.
want to make movies, absolutely. But I wrote, I don't know, 30, 40 short stories at least in the last few years, and I loved
Yeah.
every bit of it, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I agree, man. That's kind of, I think, with not all the disappointments, but the few disappointments that I've had, that's, I think, definitely inspired. I mean, I always had like kind of a fear of like the daunting aspect of like writing a novel, right? I never thought that I could do it, and but I think it's been through this, because I love movies more. Right?
mhm.
I'm the same way, and then TV, and then like down the road, books. Um, but I don't love the process of trying to make movies
Yeah.
and
I mean,
TV. But
people
I
say
kind of love the process of writing a novel.
publishing seems brutal too. Like I know a
Oh
couple
yeah,
authors who are doing pretty well, and it sounds pretty awful.
yeah,
In a lot of similar ways, and there's always going to be an editor involved and things like that, right? But
right,
still, you own it, right? And even if
yeah,
it never gets published, you own it and it's finished and it exists, and that is cool. So
yeah, man. I I think that's kind of the dream. I think the next step, I think, is kind of creating some kind of IP that you own that.
Yeah.
I think that I totally get the.
There's something special about that for sure. So I mean, I'm just going to try and balance it, and it sounds like you're doing the same thing where I'm going to write spec scripts, absolutely, but also, in between work on other stuff. And
especially
honestly,
today, I mean, spec scripts are just it's so hard to. I mean, the most you can hope for typically out of a spec script is to maybe get to pitch on something, and get a chance of winning a job.
Well, that's why I'm writing what I'm writing right now, right? Like, so, and I'm glad I was encouraged to go down this path. I'm writing something that I'm just psyched to be writing. It's not that commercial.
Right.
Like,
and
especially on this next draft, it's probably it's becoming like a $30 to $40 million movie instead of the $5 to $10 million movie I was originally going to write. But I think it's becoming something really unique. And I'm excited about it.
That's awesome.
So if it gets me in rooms and gets me an opportunity, to meet people and get repped and pitch and all that, then great. And maybe I'll turn it into a novella or some shit at some point,
Right. Yeah. You can always go back and retrofit it into some kind of IP. And I mean, at this stage, in terms of like reentry, right? Like getting back in, you need a sample. It's not about like, you don't need to sell a spec script. You need a sample that's going to get you in rooms and open the door for you to send your next thing or pitch on something, So
that's the goal, and hopefully I'll be at some point. I'll have an opportunity to actually get something made and then get rewritten on it and go through that.
Yeah, right. I mean, good problem to have, man. Yeah, I mean, I hate to complain, but
no, it's super cool, man. I'm super excited for you. I mean, I've been aware of your journey for a long time now, and it's been really cool to see it coming together like this, despite the downs. You're certainly you're achieving some level of dream right now, and that's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not all negative. I mean, there's producers and executives you work with that are highlights, man. That are fun. They see things the way that you see them. I've done free work since turning all that down, and those have turned into like great experiences. I rewrote one of my specs, page one rewrite for free for a company that has made some movies I really like, and ended up writing something like one of the things I'm most proud of having written is that script in its final form.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
It was, I mean, a great experience, like a period political thriller, something I never thought I would write. And I went back and reread that recently and was like, I can't believe I wrote it. Like it reads as if someone else wrote this, and I'm just so happy to like have that. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's one of the better parts, I think, of being a screenwriter, especially because collaboratively you can get to a place that you would not have gotten to on your own.
Cool, man. Well, hey, listen, thank you for taking some time out. It's awesome to connect, and I'm psyched for you. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
With the movie, for sure.
Yeah. I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's really beneficial. I know it would have been beneficial for me. Probably starting out. So.
Yeah, well, that's the way I look at it. Like if I came across something like this, in my early years as a writer, I would have been pretty psyched about it. So hopefully it's serving that purpose.
Kind of a gold mine, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of information in there. It's helpful.
Yeah. Cool. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And,
yeah, of course, man.
Have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, you too, man.
All right,
appreciate it. See ya.
Huge thanks to Adam for his willingness to be transparent there. I know that, I got out of the whole Hollywood screenwriting game like 6 or 7 years ago because I was just super unprepared for what it would be like once I actually broke in. And I know that many other people have struggled as they've encountered those same things. So my hope is that this transparency from writers like Adam and James, who came on last week, and other writers along the way, I hope that that's helpful to some of you up-and-comers out there who might have just gotten your foot in the door, or maybe you're just about to get there, just to kind of know what to expect. Not that I obviously want anything to go south for you, but since it does so often, it's good to just be prepared for that and to know that, perseverance is what it takes at the end of the day. This is a war of attrition, and, the people who stick with it tend to be the ones who succeed. So that's certainly what I'm trying to do this time around, and I hope that that's helpful to you. So like I said, I'm just taking a break for a couple weeks. I will be back. I've got lots of awesome interviews lined up. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss them. And all the best with your writing. Smash cut to black.